two ways in which you can stop cheating. Well, we all know that cheating now has become so prevalent that it's not even just a problem that is affecting marriages. It's a problem which is affecting even people who are not married. And at the end, what we see is that you have a lot of anger from men saying that women are cheaters. And you have a lot of anger from women saying men are cheaters. So now the question becomes, because this is the reality of what is going on, how are we going to deal with it so that it can stop? Because it's bad, because at the end, cheating makes marriage look bad, that most people don't even want to get married. People just want, relationships which they have just have sex and casual sex does not build communities, casual sex does not build families. At the end, it just leads to more and more heartbreak. So the first thing you have to ask yourself in order to stop cheating is this: where does this need to cheat come from? Because at the end, we have to understand one thing. When you're a man, you're cheating on your wife. What you want is to have sex. That's the primary thing that you want. You want to have sex. But why can't you have sex with your own wife? You see, now you're confronting yourself, you're asking yourself, you're trying to validate the need for you to have sex with another woman, not your wife. And you're not emotional about it. You're not angry about it. You're just thinking about it, and you're thinking about your thinking. You're asking yourself, what is the thinking behind me looking to sleep with another woman while I can just sleep with while I can just sleep with my wife? If you are able to answer this question and say, okay, maybe my wife is not open to do certain things in bed. Okay, so you're saying the reason why you're cheating is because your wife is not open to perform certain acts in bed. Okay, ask yourself this: are these acts painful to your wife? Or is your wife just maybe conservative in terms of doing that? Or maybe you think if you're Christian, you believe that this is not what God wants people to have sex like. So these are the questions. Now you're asking yourself question: is this painful to my wife to do? Because if it's painful, then you are being considerate, because you cannot claim to love your wife and hate her at the same time. So it means that now this the need for you, if that's the cause that you want to do something that is painful to your wife, then this need, it is you who is wrong. You're wrong. You cannot expect your wife to do something which brings pleasure to you but hurt her. That is not love. Then that means you don't love her. Then you have a problem. It's not just about cheating or sleeping with another woman who's open to do what you want them to do. It's about you don't love your wife. That's why you hurt her. And then if it's because your wife is conservative, because conservative doesn't necessarily mean that you're breaking a law or you're immoral. It's just that maybe she's just the kind of person who just wants to do things in a certain way, but she's not open. Is there not a way in which you can convince her and say, but my wife, I enjoy to do something like this. You see, and I'm your husband. And to do this, you'll be making me happy. And I don't want to go out and have to do it. I want to do these things with you. If I cannot do these things with you, I'm gonna suffer and I'm gonna be frustrated. And when I'm frustrated, the marriage is not gonna work. You see, and then this thing is not only going to bring pleasure to me, it's also going to bring pleasure to you. So you can convince her to open up, to be able to open to do certain things that will make you happy. And then you also have to tell her that, because it's not like maybe just because somebody's conservative doesn't mean that maybe she has never also thought of doing something that was unorthodox in terms of having sex. So maybe she also wants other things, because she thinks that because you think she's conservative, if you was to say that, you may start thinking that where does she get that since she's very conservative. So you also tell her that I'm also open to do things that will make you happy in the sexual environment. So this also enables you to see that you don't actually have to go out to ask another woman to do something, to do certain acts in sex that your wife doesn't want to do, because you can speak to your wife and convince her. You can even speak to your wife, take her to your pastor, because the thing is that if you take it to your pastor, this is all I want to do. I just want her to do like this. And then the pastor can understand that this is going to save him. This is important. The man wants to do it like this, and then if that's what makes him happy, and it's gonna save the marriage, and it's gonna make her happy because the husband is gonna enjoy her, and his happiness is gonna make her even do good things towards her. You're questioning your desire. Where does the desire come from? And it's only when you see where this desire comes from, you can realize that this cheating is not really cheating. It's just me not communicating my feelings correctly. Because if you have come to a point where you feel like, no, me and my wife's sex now has just become like dull and boring, then communicate this to her so that you don't have the need to cheat. That's the first thing. Ask yourself, where does this desire to cheat come from? The second thing that you can do, which is the last thing which can stop you from cheating, you have to ask yourself this: what value does me having sex with another woman while I have a wife who's open to have sex with me adds to me? Because human beings, we do things because they add value to us. You see, you drink water because you need to quench your thirst, and when you quench your thirst, you become calm. But when you are thirsty and there's nothing to quench your thirst, you become frustrated. So anything that is going to quench your thirst at that time adds value to you because it makes you calm and happier. So the question becomes, is this cheating adding value? Is it worth it to sleep with another woman while you can sleep with your wife? What is it that you're gonna get after sleeping with her that you can openly celebrate with other people? Because remember, when you cheat, you hide it. Why? Because cheating doesn't add any value to you at all. You see, but if you think that it's gonna add value, then you have to ask yourself that if this, because cheating is just sex, or cheating is more, of course, eventually, mostly start with conversations and friendships and doing all. If you were to have these conversations and this sex with your wife, will that not even make your marriage much more closer and happier than if you have to do with someone that you have to hide? Because if you're having sex with another woman, you have to hide it. So you can't even openly enjoy what you do because what you're doing is wrong. Meaning that cheating does not add value to you. In fact, not only does it not add value to you, it's gonna end up bringing you pain. Because eventually you will get found out. And when you get found out, your wife may divorce you. Your children may never look at you the same way. They may never ever respect you. And what does that mean? It means you have lost value in your children's eyes, in your children's lives, even in your friends' eyes who used to look up to you as a man of integrity, a man of self-respect, and a man who loved his wife and respected her. And when they find out you did this to her, they no longer treat you in the same way. They treat you as an infidel, as someone who is inconsiderate, and somebody who is unloving. And it is when you have asked yourself these two questions, where does the desire to cheat come from? That's the first question to ask yourself. Is cheating worth it? It is when you have asked yourself this question, you're gonna realize you'll be able to move on. You'll be able to see whether this thing I should do or I should not do. But when a man or a woman acts out of emotions, they always end up hurting themselves because they let their feelings lead their actions. So that means they always make bad judgment over things. And in the end, because they act out of emotion, when they're finished, they lose a lot more than if they were to sit down and confront themselves and ask themselves in their mind, why do I need to have sex with another woman if I can have sex with my wife? What is it that this woman is doing that my wife cannot do? If I was to ask her, you see, and second of all, what am I really gonna get out of this eventually? Because eventually you're gonna have sex and sex, and eventually the sex is just gonna be normal. Because why? You know her. You see, so eventually now you might have to end up cheating on the woman that you're cheating with another woman, which is kind of twisted now because now she's gonna be angry that you're cheating on her while you were cheating on your wife with her and start threatening that she's gonna tell your wife. You just end up bringing your stress that you don't need. But the one thing that I'm sure about is that when your wife loves you and you ask her, my wife, or you talk to her and say, over the past few weeks or the past few months or the past few hours, our sex has been dull. I'm no longer enjoying it. How about you? Just being open about it. Well, also, she may even say that she was also not enjoying it, but she wasn't open to tell you because she was afraid that you were going to think that maybe she's a slut or something like that. Which, of course, happens. Some men, when women suggest that, we should find way to spice our sex life up, she thinks, where do you get that idea? You're cheating, right? You see, that's how relationships go bad. But if you're open and say that we need to try new things, or sometimes it's just because you don't let the sex add value to your love life. So sex just becomes sex. It's not just about you being one union, you being a married couple, enjoying each other's company, enjoying each other's personalities and character to a point that, because when you enjoy a person, you want to unite with them. When that person is a woman, you want to marry them because you desire what they have. So the sex now is no longer just a matter of physical pleasure. It's about trying to get something from this woman or trying to get something this man. So now it raises above the physical activity. It becomes much more spiritual. So it is when you do that, you realize that you don't need to cheat. You know, you don't need to cheat on your wife, or you don't need to cheat with your husband, because whatever you think is wrong, obviously it was never wrong. Because if a man was bad in bed, or a woman was bad in bed, or the sex was bad to begin with, that means your marriage would have never lasted this long. The fact that it lasted this long meant that there was something good at one time, you see, and that's something which was good, kept the marriage together. But things went wrong. So, but instead of addressing the things which are wrong, you want to go and do something with someone else, which add to the wrong, because now you have a wrong in the house, in your marriage. You're doing something wrong outside, and then two wrongs don't make it right. Doesn't mean when you're cheating, the wrongs which in your marriage, in a relationship with your wife or your husband, are gonna go away. No, they're gonna even add more stress on you, because now you have to hide secrets to your wife. Now you have to, every time your phone rings, you have to take it out and go and answer, in case it's the woman that you're cheating with. And now you start to ask yourself, since when do you go out to answer a phone? Now you have to lie, and you're adding more and more pressure, more and more stress, unnecessary stress on yourself. While if you could have openly, objectively, ask yourself questions about, why do you have to cheat, or is it worth it? And then from there, you would have stopped, and you wouldn't have to go through this. You would have fixed the problems that you're in marriage, and after that, the marriage grows stronger, because not only do you enjoy times when the times are good, when the times are not good, you confront those times and see what is wrong and fix it. And that is all that I have to say about the two things that you can do to stop yourself from cheating. Thank you for listening.